work on some conversions.
I got it.
Yeah, well, you have excessively long fingers.
Go up.
All right, everyone good there? So let's work on number 3. So in number 3, what we're gonna do is use the fraction from number 1, whatever yours is. I'm using 6 fingers per 1 cubit, but yours might be 5 fingers in a cubit or 13 fingers in a cubit. So use your own finger measurement. So in number 2, how long is the table in fingers? You guys just measured that. What did you get? Shout out your answers. 21.
42.
Okay, so somewhere between 20 and 40 fingers long.
42 is the number of the
Alright,
universe.
so that's fine. I mean, everyone's finger could be vastly different, so that's fine. But I'm gonna pick 30 fingers, just so I can demonstrate the math. You use your real thing that you really measured in fingers. So, if I want to convert to cubits, and I know I've got a table that's 30 fingers long, you write whatever you actually got, and I should write in a different color so you guys can follow this. Alright, so 30 fingers. I'm going to use this fraction in number 3 to convert. Let me put number 3 right here. So, if I want to cancel out fingers and get cubits, I have to actually flip this over, okay? So I know for every 1 cubit, there are 6 fingers, right? That makes it possible for me to cancel out fingers and get cubits. So I do 30 divided by 6, well that's 5, how convenient. You guys want to get a decimal and that's fine. So that means that if I measure by fingers and then convert with my fraction to cubits, I get that the table is 5 cubits. So then when I measure with the actual cubit string, what did I get? So what did you guys get when you measured with the cubit string? Because that's the answer for number 4. Somewhere between 4 and 7 cubits for the table length, maybe? Alright. So you can see that when you convert, you might get something pretty close. You should get something pretty close, in fact. So everyone take a minute and actually do the math here in number 3. So how long is the table in fingers? How many fingers? Like when you just went down to, how many fingers was it? Okay, so you write 24 fingers right there. That's all you write, it's just 24 fingers. All right. Always keep units. Like 6 something. 6. Always units. Units are good. Clay, run around and make sure they're getting units in their problems. So right here, like 42 fingers. Always keep units everywhere. I'm kind of obsessive about units. You guys should definitely.
That's
know about
true.
me. Yeah, Clay knows very well. It's the 2nd year of me obsessing about units with him. Okay, so good. Okay, so number 3, what you're gonna do? Oh, like when you measured the table, was it really 30 fingers?
It was
Around. Measure. You've got to measure carefully.
Okay. Should I read?
You probably should.
Okay.
It's a bummer, but you know. Okay, so here for you, what you're going to do is use this fraction to convert. So you're going to write 40 fingers right there. 40? Yep. So in number 3, 40, and then you literally write fingers because you have to always keep your units. Then you're going to use this fraction to cancel out fingers and get cubits, so you can find out the length of the table in cubits. Okay, so you're going to multiply by 1 cubit over 6 fingers. Now, just as an aside, in number 3, how can you just flip over, if you know there's 6 fingers and 1 cubit, why did I just flip that over and say there's 1 cubit per 6 fingers? How is that allowed? Does that confuse anyone? So if you think of conversion factors, let's say I know there are 1,000 meters and 1 kilometer, right? 1,000 meters is exactly the same thing as 1 kilometer, right? Exactly the same, right? Just like saying 2 over 2. Well, they're exactly the same thing, right? 2 over 2 equals 1. So this literally equals 1, right? The same thing over the same thing. Equivalent things in a fraction equal 1. So it's exactly the same thing to say 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. Flipping a conversion factor upside down is just like saying 2 over 2 is 1, right? 12 inches is exactly the same thing as 1 foot, right? So I can also say that equals 1 because they're identical things, just like 2 over 2. Identical things, right? So exactly the same, 6 fingers over 1 cubit. Those two things are exactly the same thing. They equal 1. So I can just flip them upside down and say 1 cubit is 6 fingers. Does that help kind of clarify that for people?
Yes, ma'am.
Don't tell me yes if it really doesn't too, because that's okay. This is a confusing yet key point. So here, when you do this, so you don't have 40 fingers and 1 cubit. You just had 40 fingers because that was how big the table was. So start with just 40 fingers with nothing in the denominator. Or however many fingers your table was long. I'm just using 30 here as an example. Yours might have been 20 or 40 or something else, right? Then you multiply by whatever you wrote in number 1. I wrote 6 fingers per cubit. I want to cancel out fingers, so I wrote 1 cubit is 6 fingers. So, like for you, you had 6 fingers in a cubit. If the table was 24 fingers long, then you do 24 fingers times 1 cubit divided by 6 fingers, okay? And you cancel out fingers and you get cubits. So, in her case, here's what she had. Okay, go around and try to help them. So she has a 24 finger table, right? And she had 6 fingers and 1 cubit. So how can I figure out how many cubits the table is if she measured in fingers? Well, I just multiply by that conversion factor. I want to get it in cubits. I want to cancel out fingers. I know there's 6 fingers in every one of her cubits. So I can cancel out from numerator to denominator. 24 times 1 divided by 6 is going to be 4 cubits. She finds the table is 4 cubits. Okay. So for Jessie also had 6 fingers in a cubit, but her table was 40 fingers long. So for Jessie, we've got 40 fingers long. That's the measures of the table. But she had 1 cubit, still exactly the same, 6 fingers. So 40 divided by 6 is, almost 7. So she finds that the table is 6.7-ish. Fingers cancel there, cubits. Okay, so everyone make sure you can get that math done for your conversion factor. I know that's confusing. So for you would convert 4 cubits to fingers and then add 2 or something. All right. Is there anyone that doesn't have a conversion factor that's between 4 and 7 cubits? Your finger is like very long, so that could be okay. So you have, let's see, 5 fingers per cubit, 22 finger long table. So you do 22. Well, here, use your actual number. So you would have 5 there. Yeah. I'm just using like sample data here. So you have 42, and then you use 13, that's good. Make sure you put in tab or something by the camera.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's hard to learn to keep all of your units always there all the time, but you'll get there. You won't suffer like these guys who didn't get yelled at by me about units all the time in physical science. So, the answer to number 4, how long is the table in cubits, is literally you taking the cubit thing and measuring the table. So number 4 is like, I took my string and I measured the table in cubits. So make sure you've written that thing, because I know you all did that. Make sure you've literally written in number 4. Everyone write in number 4 what you actually got when you measured the table. Now,
When I measured the table in cubits.
in cubits with your long string. So you would have gotten like 1, 2, 3, 4-ish. Right? Okay, so now I am stuck. So now what you want to do is compare the answer to number 3 to the answer to number 4. Okay? So in number 3, I had converted I had measured or something. Hold on, what did I do in number 3? I converted my finger measurement of the table to cubits in number 3. And I got 5 cubits. But let's say here I literally measured in cubits and I got 4.5 cubits. Maybe you get something different because you have different arms. Well, why are those different? Why did I get 5 cubits there and 4.5 cubits there? I mean, it's the same table, it should be one length, right? So why do I get a different answer? Or did you? Did anyone get the exact same answer when you measure in fingers or measure in cubits? Did you get the same? What did you get?
I got 24.
24
Fingers.
fingers. Let me see. So, here you've got, so we're comparing number 3, oh here, 6, right? So number 4. So 6 and 4, you got different answer. Where's your string?
Yeah, they all. This one was string was on the back.
Yes.
That was not.
Oh, not
And then that was just the
So when you
extra.
did this, you got 4. Okay, so that's a big difference. He converted his finger measurement and got 6 cubits. But when he measured the table with his cubit string, he got 4 cubits. So it's not like the table changed length by 2 cubits in the time it took him to change the measurement, right? So what happened? Why did he get a different answer? Come on.
Well, it might I know it's kind of not very reliable
Yes, that's
because
exactly
we
it.
don't know where to mark, and we kind of just estimate.
Yes, there was a lot of estimating going on. As you scooch that string down, you're just kind of, oh, it's somewhere in the ballpark, oh, half a cubit, but it makes a big difference when you're building something. I mean, if he says it needs to be 4 cubits and somebody uses a finger string and ends up measuring out 6 cubits instead of 4, that's a big deal, right? So, how does your answer compare? If it's really similar, if it's like one says 4 cubits and one says 4 and just a little bit of cubits, that's great. They compare well. If they compare not as well, like 4 and 6, then just tell what you got. It's fine, whatever you got. They don't compare very closely. So write something in number 5 right now. They're really close, they're not very close. Write something that is true. Now, how should they compare? Did the table change lengths? No, when you measure the table, you should always get the same exact thing. So the table didn't change. They should be exactly the same. If you measured your finger right, and you found out how many fingers are in your cubit, and then you measured the table in fingers, and then you measured in cubits, there should be exact consistency if you do it very carefully and measure everything just right, right? It's the same thing as measuring in inches and then converting to feet, right? There's 12 inches in every foot. If you measure that table carefully, you should definitely get the same answer every time, right? So, now we're gonna find that out. So in number 5, it's very important that you write how should they compare. They should be exactly the same because the table is the same exact length. You're measuring the same table. So in number 5, you want to write they should have been exactly the same because you measured the same table both times. I hope you measured the same table both times anyway. Now, this would be the moment in the lab where if your data is wildly awful, like, I think it's, I measure in fingers, I convert to cubits and I get 3 cubits, and then I measure with my cubit and I get 5 or 6, well, that's really bad. So I would redo that. But we don't necessarily have time to redo that, so we just assume that we have somehow made an error or we haven't been careful or converting sometimes leaves a little bit to be desired. Number 6 says, how long is your cubit in meters? So, when you look at this yardstick, the big numbers are inches. You don't want to use those. You want to use these little guys, which are millimeters. And then you can figure out meters from there. So take your cubit string and measure how long it is in meters. Like here's your cubit string, right? So just line it right up. Now, I'm sure the book talks about good measuring technique and measuring right from the end, but I think we're pretty close enough for this to do it this way. So, stretch it out there. And what do you think, how many meters? So it would be 47, not quite, let's see, that would be centimeters, 47 centimeters, this is 46 centimeters. It's not quite, maybe 46.7, like if you get right up over top of it, you can see it's about 0.7. So you have, that's centimeters, so 46.7 centimeters, 39 meters. So if, I'm going to do this right here in black. So if, for example, you find, if you look at that ruler and you say 400 or 47.2 centimeters to convert to meters, you're going to say 1 meter has 100 centimeters. So you cancel that and you get so probably everyone's cubit is going to be somewhere around half a meter, 0.5, 0.4, 0.6. So write down what you get for your cubit, which is different from everyone else's cubit. So is that times 10 to the 2 or? So you would want 46 times 2. Or 0.46. Oh, is that the same for? Okay, how about you? Okay, so take your thing, put your cubit on so that it's right at the end. Okay, so then it's about right at the end. So it'll be 0.49 meters. Everyone measure? So 450 millimeters would be 0.45 meters. Oh, and put a unit, meter. Everyone make sure you got a unit. 4 is about 4 meters. sneak the unit in. It's a meter. What is it? Oh wait, no, that's cubit. So write cubit for your unit there. Every single thing has to have a unit. And then here, okay, so how long is your cubit? So she's got 39, so that would be 39 centimeters, because 39 meters is like the length of the building. And I said in meters, so if you convert that, right, centimeter, you divide by 100 to get meters, because a centimeter is 1/100. So you move 2 decimal places, so you get 0.394 meters. Oh, I don't know. Okay, so everyone has between 0.3 and 0.5 meters or so. Now what's next? Okay. So convert the length of the table from cubits to meters. So, right here, what you've got is, let's see. Okay, you've got this. Whatever you just found the length of your cubit to be, you can write as a fraction, right? 0.472 meters is 1 cubit, right? You measured your cubit, and whatever it is, yours won't be 0.472, it'll be 0.381 or 0.512 or whatever. Whatever your meter measurement of your cubit is divided by 1 cubit, that's your conversion factor right here for number 7. So you're going to convert the table length from cubits to meters. So how long is your table in cubits? Well, if you got 4.5 cubits, right, then you're going to write that here. 4.5 cubits times whatever that conversion factor you just got is. It'll cancel out cubits and give you meters. So you should get somewhere around 2 to 3 meters. So everyone try that. Use your own data. So you're using your data from number 4. And you're using the conversion factor from number 6.
Mrs. Mathias?
Yes.
If I got for my table in cubits, 4 cubits in 1 finger, should I just round to 4 cubits?
Yes, you can just round at this point.
Thank you.
So, use here, number 4, you said 4 cubits, and here, make sure you put your meter there. 39 meters per 1 cubit. Perfect. And then you multiply that by however actual many cubits your table was, so that's 4. So times 4 cubits. Just right there, times 4 cubits. Okay, so that'll make this cubit cancel with the cubit there in the denominator, and you'll just get meters. So then you just type in your calculator. It should be 0.39, not 0.039. Like that 0 right there shouldn't be there. Okay, there you go, 0.39. Good. So then 0.39 divided by 1, of course, is just 0.39 times 4. And that'll give you your answer in meters because your cubits have canceled. Okay? So, do you have a calculator? If you have one, please feel free to use it. If you don't, share. Alright, you two work together because you just saw that. So convert the length of the table from number 4. So you got, in cubits, it was 4.5? Okay, so instead of 24, you want to write the 24 right here, 24 fingers.
Do your equation. Right.
Is it meters?
Here, yes, you canceled out your cubits, so you just get meters, because this 0.39 is meters. Sorry. Is that 4.5? 4.5 is the same as 1, so that'll be good. And then, I'll let you go in.
Help with-
Put a meter right there. Okay, so now you're literally, once you've got it done, if you're done, grab a yardstick and literally measure the cable that you measured with the meter stick. Now work together, because really we should all get the same answer. The table should be the same way.
Saying this is a meter stick.
No, we're not. We're saying that's 910 or whatever centimeters. Or no, don't beat my students' mistakes.
Teams up.
Okay, so right here. So let's measure the table. Okay, so for number 4, you got 4.5 cubits, right? Here, you got, here's the problem. You have 4.6.
So,
Oh, okay.
not the centimeters.
So, how long